Have you ever truly questioned the nature of justice in our modern world? Before you answer, take a moment to look at the complex social layers of contemporary India. A recent incident involving a high-ranking political representative and a humble laborer sparked a nationwide outcry. The footage showed a moment of deep, public humiliation that most of us cannot even begin to imagine. But what followed was even more surreal: a minister personally washing the workers' feet in front of news cameras. It was a grand, symbolic gesture of apology intended to heal a national wound. Yet, it happened at the very same time the workers' modest home was being demolished for a minor technical violation. Welcome to a deep dive into the invisible empire, the shadow structures that govern life when the system fails. Today, we explore the stark reality where official legal frameworks end and unofficial power begins. Let's start with the story of a family caught in the aftermath of a tragic workplace accident. They received compensation for incurring a life-changing sum for someone in their economic position. But when they stepped into the local bank, they didn't find support, they found a wall of cold bureaucracy. In many regions, traditional financial institutions remain fundamentally out of reach for the most vulnerable citizens. High service fees and impossible documentation requirements make simple savings feel like an unreachable dream. If a person from a marginalized background suddenly possesses wealth, they are often met with suspicion rather than service. Where does a father turn when the official path to his children's future is blocked by insurmountable gates? This is where the parallel system steps in, filling the massive gaps left by the state's inefficiency. In the heart of rural areas, unofficial contracts and private land deals are the real law of the land. Thousands of people sign papers they can barely read, just to secure a small amount of survival capital. These documents, though unofficial, form the foundation of a hidden economy worth billions in gray capital. You might wonder, are these shadow agreements actually reliable in the long run? The bitter irony is that for many, these contracts are far more dependable than the slow-moving official courts. In these communities, shadow organizations don't just act as gangs. They function as essential service providers. If the police cannot recover a stolen item, people often turn to local power brokers to settle the score quickly. They collect unofficial fees and provide a brutal form of protection that the law simply doesn't reach. It is a disturbing paradox. Social order is being maintained by those who exist entirely outside the legal framework. Why do so many young men from impoverished villages flock to join these shadow organizations? Manual labor in the fields pays a pittance, barely enough to cover basic needs or future medical bills. But serving a local strongman offers a steady income and a sense of belonging in a world that often ignores them. It is a bargain with the unknown, born out of a desperate and profound paternal love for family. Children are often sent abroad to countries like Japan or the West to gain education and a new identity. The parents stay behind, risking their lives and their freedom to fund a life they will never personally experience. Every sacrifice made in the shadows is a desperate attempt to break the cycle of social stagnation for the next generation. India is a nation moving forward with incredible speed, yet its social foundations remain deeply complex. Beneath the shiny glass skyscrapers lies a network of unofficial groups filling the vacuum of the state. Political theater might offer a temporary apology, but it rarely addresses the deep-seated roots of social inequality. The vulnerable choose the shadows because the light of the system has often refused to shine on them. Tomorrow, the same cycle might repeat in another street, another village, or another distant state. The shadow world will be there, ready to catch those who continue to fall through the cracks of the official world. In this hidden empire, justice isn't exactly lost. It has simply found a different, much darker market. As the sun sets on another day, the question remains, who truly holds the power in the silence between the laws? The rise of parallel power structures is not just an Indian phenomenon, but a global warning. When a government fails to provide basic dignity and financial access, the shadows will always expand. In the vast rural landscapes, the line between a criminal organization and a community leader becomes blurred. For a young man with no prospects, the choice is between starving with dignity or thriving in the gray zone. This choice is forced upon millions of people every single day. The financial system often acts as a gatekeeper, keeping the poor in a state of perpetual debt and dependency. When a bank refuses a legitimate transaction because of a person's social standing, they are pushing them into the arms of the underworld. The HCC Bang or shadow syndicates don't just offer money, they offer a twisted version of respect. They provide the security that a corrupt or indifferent local police force cannot or will not provide. This creates a cycle where the community becomes more loyal to the shadow leader than to the state. And can we really blame them? Survival is the most basic human instinct. The money earned in these dangerous professions is often laundered through legitimate-looking businesses. Small shops, local transport, and even community festivals are funded by this hidden wealth. This integrates the shadow economy so deeply into daily life that it becomes impossible to extract. For the children sent abroad, the burden is equally heavy. They carry the weight of their parents' sins and sacrifices. They live in beautiful houses in foreign lands, but their foundation is built on the sweat and blood of the invisible empire. They are the silent witnesses to a system that trades morality for a chance at a better life. As we analyze these events, we must look beyond the surface level of political scandals. We must ask ourselves, what kind of world are we building when justice is a luxury and survival is a crime? The washing of the feet was a powerful image, but it cannot wash away the structural rot of centuries. True change requires more than just symbols. It requires a radical reimagining of how we value human life. Until then, the shadow empire will continue to grow, thriving in the gaps where empathy and equality should be. It is a world of contrast where the highest technology meets the most ancient forms of social hierarchy. We see space missions and nuclear power, yet we also see people treated as less than human on the streets. This duality is the true heart of the modern struggle in emerging economies. As you finish watching this, remember that every statistic is a human story, often one of quiet desperation. The stories we've shared today are just a glimpse into a much larger, more complex reality. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the heart of the invisible empire. Don't forget to reflect on the world around you and the hidden structures that shape it. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning the nature of the power that governs our lives.